a sketch challenge for the scrapartist-blogspot.com for January, and this is the sketch I'm going to be using. So I really do love this sketch. I love the three photos, like almost like a photo strip down this side of the page. And then I think this is a really cool element where half of a circle was cut out of that paper so that the paper underneath shows through. So I think this is a really cool sketch, and I'm really excited about doing this layout. So the pictures I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using 4 pictures. They are pictures of my dogs. And during Christmas, or before Christmas, my mom and I went to Sam's, and we found these dog advent calendars, and they're treat calendars. And so my mom bought that for my dogs for Christmas. And so they started getting treats every day from December 1st through Christmas. And they were super excited about it. Now, some of these pictures here are actually some other pictures of my dog Lilybell out in the backyard. And I'm not going to be scrapbooking those pictures, but I did try to fill up this page. It's like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And I wanted to make sure I used most of this page. So I printed some extra pictures, but this is Bella one day when I was giving them a treat, and she was trying to figure out where the treat was in the calendar. And this was the day my mom actually gave them the calendar. This is Lilybell. And then this was also another picture from the day my mom gave them the calendar. They were so excited to get that. And but it's kind of created a little bit of an issue now, because I think they got a little spoiled and they expect to get a treat every day. And so if I don't give them a treat by, say, 7 or 7:30, then my dog Bella starts sitting in front of my chair and just staring at me. And then eventually she will start whining. And then, of course, my other dog Lilybell will come in, and they'll both sit there and just stare at me. So until I give them something. And I'm trying to untrain them to expect a treat every day. And it's kind of been a little bit of a challenge to do that. I think they got a little spoiled with that advent calendar, but it was a lot of fun for them to, you know, kind of look forward to that Christmas treat every day for Christmas. So I'm going to be using these pictures. And the other thing that I need to do for this sketch challenge, they have some rules down here at the bottom, and you're supposed to use a chevron pattern paper and something gold. And so yeah, I got myself into trouble again because I didn't look at the rules. And I decided, hey, I'm going to do these pictures of my dogs, and they're Christmas pictures, and I'm going to use a Christmas collection. So I decided to use this Pebbles project pad. This is the Merry Mary collection. And then I also have this, some items from the, I think this is, yeah, Cozy and Bright. This is also Pebbles, and it has some similar colors to this Pebbles Merry Mary. And then after I decided all of the, I read the rules, and I'm like, oh, I have to have a chevron. Well, I looked through my craft room for probably a good 30 minutes looking for a chevron paper that would go with these Christmas colors. And that was a challenge, because most of the chevron paper seems to be blue or pink or some other color. It's not Christmas colors. And I was about to give up, and I finally found this collection. This is an Echo Park collection. And it is called Once Upon a Time Prince. I think they also have Once Upon a Time for girls as well. I think it's called Princess. And I have that collection. I've used it for several layouts of my dogs. This one is for boys. And you know, it's funny, I don't really have a lot of pictures of scrapbook of boys, but I do sometimes like to pick up collections that are meant for boys, because it has different colors that a lot of times I don't find if I'm always just getting things for girls. And so I was really happy to find a chevron print in this really pretty green color. And so that's the paper I'm going to be using for my challenge. And so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be using this green paper. I just know that I have to have the chevron. And so this is going to work perfectly for that. Now, the other rule was that you had to use something gold. And I thought about using gold for my alpha, but I have these stickers here that have all these Christmas sayings, and I really love the wood grain element of that. And so I think that I'm going to use that for my title. And so then I'm thinking, what else can I use that's gold? And I knew I had these paper clips. I got a bunch of these at Tuesday mornings, and I just love these paper clips. I've used them on so many different layouts already, but I just think they are adorable. And so I'm going to be using one of these paper clips on this layout for my gold. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started creating this layout. Now I can't scrap and talk at the same time, so I'm going to go ahead and keep recording, and then I'll go back and speed this up and record a voiceover to kind of walk you through the process of how I created this scrapbook layout. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to start off by trimming down these pictures, and I like sometimes if I'm wanting a picture a particular size, I kind of use a word processing software, which is Microsoft Word, and I will put all my pictures in there and make them the size I want, and then just print it out on an 8.5 by 11 paper. And to me, it's just easy to do it that way so that I don't have to worry about trying to get the right picture once I print them out. So I'm going to look through this paper, and I'm trying to find something that's going to go with the chevron. And I think the paper in this paper pad, which is from Pebbles, it's called Mary Mary, and it is so cute. I love all the different colors and the florals, and just has some really, really cute prints in here. So I had a hard time picking out just one pattern paper. And I did go back and forth between the different florals there, trying to figure out which one I wanted to use. And so I'm going to pull this one out. It's a floral with a kind of a light bluish green background. And I'm also going to be pulling out this one that has little Santa Clauses. And it's going to, I think I originally wanted to use that floral as the mat for my layout. And then once I started really looking at it, I thought, well, wouldn't it be cute if I cut the circle out of my background and the little Santa Clauses would show through? And so I'm going to kind of change my mind later and use the Santa Claus paper for the mat that's going to mat my entire layout. Okay, so now I'm trying to figure out what kind of paper I can use to make a mat for my photos. And this is where I kind of struggled a little bit with this because I wasn't really, finding anything that I fell in love with as far as like using a mat. And I did find this paper. It was kind of similar to the paper. It had similar colors to the floral. It had some of that kind of orangey red flowers that were in the floral. So I thought that might work. But when I didn't end up using the floral and I just used the Santa Claus, I realized that that wasn't going to work, and so I'm back here looking at the paper pad trying to figure out something else that I could use. And I wanted to bring in some more red, and so I got this stripe, and it's got some glitter on it, so it's like a red stripe with white glitter, and it's really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and mat my pictures with this red and white stripe. And I'm using a Creative Memories 12-inch paper trimmer. This is something that I recently purchased. It is from Creative Memories. And I just became an advisor in December, and I received my first order, and it was super exciting. So I love the Creative Memories tools, and I still have all of the tools that I had purchased probably 20 plus years ago. I have a personal trimmer, which is that little photo trimmer I was using a little bit ago, and then I have the cutting mat, I have the cutting system, all these tools that I've had for years and years, and they're still going and they still work great. So I just love Creative Memories for their tools. So I had used the ATG gun to apply the pictures to the mat, but it wasn't sticking to that glitter paper, so I did end up having to use that art glitter glue to make those photos stay on that paper. They were just really just falling off. It was not good. So I did actually mat these 3 photos together to make like a little photo strip or a film strip. And now I'm going to work on my background. Now I did lose a little bit of my video footage because I did already cut down my chevron paper into a 9 by 9. And I did cut my white background, and I cut a circle out of it. Well, Now what I'm going to try to do is cut some circles out of this Santa Claus paper because I want to use those on my layout, because in the actual sketch there's a couple of different places on the layout which calls for circles. And so I thought it would be really cute to go ahead and use some of this pattern paper that's not going to actually show because it's going to be behind the background. I'll use some of that to make circles. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a second circle, and I really wished I would have paid attention to where I was cutting these circles because it caused me such a problem. That circle on the left is very high up on the paper, and I couldn't really flip the paper over because the pattern is, it has to be that direction, otherwise it would be upside down or sideways. Now you can see here I put my background on top of that, and the half circle I cut into my background, it didn't quite cover up the circle that I had cut out of the paper. So I was really sad and I had to start over. So I got out another piece of this cardstock, and I did tape it down to my workspace to keep it from moving. I'm trying to figure out where exactly I can cut this to make sure that I don't make it too big and have the same problem. So I'm trying this out and I'm thinking, well, it's not big enough, so I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger. And so I tried cutting it a little bigger and my paper moved, and then I got a really bad cut, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. So that was just, it was bad. So I'm going to just use that paper later on another project to match some photos or something and start over. And this is take number 3. And I did go ahead and cut half an inch off either side because I didn't do that the first time, and I think that kind of messed me up. So I'm going to go ahead and try this again. I'm going to have a 1/4 inch mat all the way around, and I'm putting my pictures there and my circles and just trying to get an idea of how this is going to look and how my page is going to be laid out. So I think I kind of got, I wanted to take a break from the whole circle cutting thing just to kind of, sometimes you kind of have to take a break. Otherwise, if you keep trying something over and over, I just mess up more and more. So to me, this was just taking a break, looking at my thickers, trying to figure out what my title is going to be, looking at the pictures, trying to figure out the placement. Okay, so now I'm going to go in for my 3rd attempt at cutting my half circle into this white cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and tape it down with some washi tape again. And this time I put 3 pieces of washi tape. Okay, I'm going to make my circle, and it's all good. My circle came out pretty good, and I think there was a little place where when I pulled the washi tape off, it peeled up the cardstock a little bit, and I just added some wet glue there, and that fixed it. And then I had to just cut off a little bit, and that looks great. So I was super happy, but then I realized that I didn't take into account in my measurement that I had that 1/4 inch mat, and so it didn't work. I still have a gap there where you can see the circle underneath that I had cut out of the paper. So I'm going to have to do number 4. This is attempt number 4. Okay, so 4th time is the charm, right? I'm going to go ahead again and cut this down, and I wanted to leave this in here because I just wanted to show y'all. I think I was tired when I was trying to do this, and I probably should have really sat down and thought about it some more and made sure that I knew exactly where I should cut this. But this paper right here actually had a weird spot on it, so I kind of was trying to figure out what direction I wanted that paper to be in so that I could make sure that that spot was covered up by my picture or the circle. Okay, so I actually measured, I used a pencil, I made a mark, and voila, it worked. So I just need to, I think, sometimes slow down and, measure things and actually mark it with a pencil. I think that if I would have done that from the beginning and really thought about, how I was going to cut that half circle and what the actual size of it needed to be and the placement of it, I wouldn't have had to do it 4 times. But oh well, at least I got it done. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and I'm looking at the sketch, trying to figure out my placement of my pictures and my circles. And I just couldn't figure out how to get that picture on the left, or on the right, I'm sorry, the picture with my two dogs. No matter what I did, it just didn't seem like it was working out right. So I ended up actually just removing that picture from the layout. So I'm going to go ahead and look at these stickers, and I was trying to come up with the title for this layout. And they had some really cute sayings on here, but I really wanted something that was more descriptive of the story of this layout. And so I did love this word Christmas, and I am going to end up using that word, but I really wanted Christmas treats. And so later I'm going to go back and get another set of thickers that are gold, and I'm going to add Grandma's Christmas Treats as the title. But for now, I just put that back in the package. I'm still trying to think of, kind of what my title is going to be. And at first, I did think, well, I'm not going to use this because it doesn't have the word treats in there. But I'm just going to use a different, like two different alphas, and use the Christmas from this thicker, and then some letters from another set of thickers to make my title. So here I'm going to just move these around, and I'm going to place some musical pictures with my photos and my circles, and trying to figure out how to make these pictures work on this layout. And here's where I decided that I would just eliminate that larger picture from this layout. So I'm going to be using these gold thickers, and these are so pretty. I'm going to use them to spell out the word grandmas and also the word treats. So I decided to move the word grandmas up on top of that green chevron pattern paper, and I really like the way that that makes that word stand out. And I really am just a little bit disappointed because I did lose one of the files that I had recorded. It got corrupted, and so I lost the end footage for this video. But I do have the final layout and some close-ups to share with you, and so you'll be able to still see the final layout. So I'm going through these different die cuts. These came from the Pebbles Merry and Bright. I had both the labels and tags, and also those other die cuts that had the different little elves and Santa Clauses and houses. And I thought those little elves were so adorable. And I pulled 3 of those out, plus this little Santa Claus, one of the houses, and that little bird that I put on top of the pictures there. And I'm moving these around and just trying them out. And I am going to end up bringing the Santa Claus back at the end. And I just thought that those little elves were just too cute. So I wanted to limit the number of die cuts that I used just because I didn't want to cover up that really cute Santa Claus pattern paper. And here I'm going to take a picture of my layout because I really like the placement of the circles and the die cuts in my pictures, and I wanted to remember how I had that laid out. And that's a really good tip if you have a phone, to just snap a picture of your layout before you move things, and just to make sure that you can remember how you had it. Because I don't know how many times I've done a layout where I really loved everything and how I had placed it, but then I moved it to glue it down or to do something, and then I could never remember how to get it back. Okay, so here I'm going to go through, and I'm looking at these alphas because I was thinking about doing Christmas treats in like one, using some of those little block alphas, but everything that I had, the colors didn't really match, and when I did try it, they were just too small. They didn't really stand out enough. So I went back to using that word Christmas from that thicker pack, and then I'm going to spell out the word treats with the gold thickers. So here I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to put back all of these different elements back onto the page, and I'm trying out this dog paper clip, trying to figure out where that would go, and I end up putting it there on the bottom of the photo strip. So once I get that paper clip on there, I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of these letters to spell out the word treats. And I really love the way that the title looked there and how much space it took up on the page, because it really filled in the space between that circle at the top and the circle at the bottom. One of my favorite things about this page was that Santa Claus pattern paper at the top that is showing through from the background in that half circle. I just think that's so adorable. It's like this little scene peeking out from behind. And I also love that on the right hand side, that circle had the little Santa Claus with the ho 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 right there at the bottom. And so I really didn't want to cover any of that up. And I did strategically place these little elves to make sure that I didn't cover up those areas of the circles. And here I'm looking at my picture again because I'm trying to figure out what happened to my elf. I thought I had 3 elves, and I really did have 3, and I did eventually find it. It was under something. You know how sometimes you pick things out and then they get lost. Okay, so this is a picture of the final layout, and I did add some white sparkly enamel dots. I also added some little holly berries and some floral pieces at each of the clusters. I added back on the Santa Claus there, and I thought the Santa Claus really filled in that space over there next to where the title was, and I really loved how that came out. It's almost like the Santa Claus is on top of the house, maybe about to go down the chimney. And you can see here, I actually did put the little white enamel dots around each cluster, and I thought this page came out really cute. I love these pictures of my dogs. It's a really happy memory to think of them getting their Christmas treats every day during the month of December. And yeah, this layout was a lot of fun to create, and I just love this sketch from scrapbook-blogspot.com. So y'all should go check them out. I will leave a link to their website in the description below, and you can just go over there and find a copy of the sketch and the rules. And if you want to participate, you can just put a link to your layout on their website. And yeah, and join in on this month's challenge. So stick around to the end because I have some close-up pictures and also a short clip of my dogs getting their Christmas treats at the end of this video. So I hope y'all enjoyed this scrapbook process layout, and if you did, please give this a like, and if you would like to see more videos, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. What y'all think? Can you say thank you to Grandma for giving you such an awesome Christmas present?
Yeah, every day in December.
Every day in December.
Every day. Treats.
Every day you're going to get treats for December. Isn't that awesome? Grandma's so special, huh? Don't you love Grandma? She gave you such a nice Christmas present. You going to say thank you? You going to give her kisses? You give her kisses? Okay, Miss B, it's Christmas time, and you get to have a treat from your Advent calendar, and it's December the 8th. Can you find December the 8th? Help me find it. It's the one with the sweater. Can you find it? Did you find it? Let me help you. Lilybud, you gonna come in here and get your treat? Come see. Hey, sweetie, you gonna come get your treat? All right, let Mama open it. I'm gonna open December the 8th, okay? You ready? All right, I'm gonna pick it up. Because if I try to open it with it on the floor, they will try to snatch it away. Okay. Ooh. got treats. Yay. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Okay. Good girls. Merry Christmas. Say thanks, Grandma. You're getting so spoiled. I know. That's it. It's all gone. All gone. All gone. We'll have to get some more tomorrow, okay? Love you guys.